in verse 3 it says, "And he is the radiance of his glory and the exact representation of his nature. And he upholds all things by the word of his power. When he had made purification of sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high." Here we see that Jesus is God, and if you ever had any doubt, he is the exact representation of his nature. The exact representation. There's no flaw in him. If you ever wanted to know what God looks like, look to Jesus. For a lot of people, it's like we've got the persons of the Trinity. You know, God in three persons. We've got them separated out, and never the two shall meet. So I might see Jesus as the tender one. You know, he gave his life for me. He hung on a cross and was willing to shed his blood for me. And so he's tender and merciful and empathetic. He's the high priest. He became one of us. And so he's loving and kind, and he can relate. But then, there's God the Father and the Holy Spirit. And we talk about the conviction of the Spirit. The Spirit's really been beating me up lately. And what does God think of me? And have I ruined it? Am I out of God's will? Is God angry with me? We've got Jesus and God, or Jesus and the Father, or Jesus and the Spirit, almost like they're on different pages, as if they don't agree about us. But here we're seeing that Jesus is the exact representation of God's heart and God's agenda and God's nature. Jesus said, "I and the Father are one," right? And so we've got to come to grips with the fact that God is crazy about us, that he dances over us, he delights in us, he celebrates us. And this giving of his Son is a perfect picture of his heart and his agenda. Jesus is the exact representation of God. If you want to know God's heart, then look to the actions of Christ. That's what it's saying here in Hebrews 1.